All right, now in this video, I want to show you, we often talk about budding and grafting, and people hear it all the time, but they don't completely understand what it is. In front of me, this is a small, this is the variety, this is a lace leaf weeping Japanese maple. This particular variety is unwanted. It's one of the red lace leaf. It weeps. With these weeping plants, they want to spread out all over the place, so we tie them to a bamboo stake so that we get that mushroom or umbrella effect and then we trim them as they grow. But this plant was grafted. I'm going to show you the graft union way down here. This right below, right above these tags. This is the graft union right here, and you can see this is the rootstock. Now this is from here down, this plant is a Japanese maple that was grown from seed, a seedling, and from here up, this is the desired variety, the unwanted that I just showed you. So you can see the graft union. It's pretty obvious. And this was the rootstock. They grafted this on the side of it right here, and then they cut away. Right here is where they literally cut away what was left of that rootstock, the rootstock, so that the desired variety could go upwards. Now I'm going to show you on a different plant that was grafted up high, and you can actually see the difference in the two types of plants right in the same particular plant. All right, now what we're looking at, this is another lace leaf weeping Japanese maple, but this is it has the cut leaf to dissect them, but it also has a variegated leaf color. This is going to be a very, very nice plant when it matures. This one is Toyama Nishiki is the variety. Now, this one was grafted up high. The graft union is right here, way up here. So this part from here up is the rootstock that's grown from seed, and as you can see, but with these leaves right here, this is actually just a green Japanese maple, nothing special. There's a bud coming out here. I'm going to pinch that off because that's from below the graft union. Anything below the graft union has to come off because that won't be the desired variety. And you can see that there's two very distinct different plants here. Now here's another. I'm going to prune this off. There's another little branch starting down here that we don't want to grow. A lot of times what I'll do is I just take my hand and rub it up and down the stem like that, and that just breaks off any little tiny buds that are starting to grow. Now to show you, I'm going to cut this right here. Now you can see that is all from the rootstock. That's all green. There's another little branch right here I'm going to cut off, and then there's another one over here. All right, that's green as well. Now, the only thing I have left is the variegated variety. You can see here, I don't know if I can, anyway, you can see this was the graft union right here. This is where they originally cut off the rootstock. Now this part is going to grow this way. But because this was grafted up high, it's always going to produce some suckers. So in your own landscape, you got to keep an eye out for that and figure out where the graft union is, and then remove anything below the graft union. Here's another plant right next door to this one. Same thing. There's suckers growing along the stem here. So I'm going to cut those off, come down here and cut these off. And these I'll just take my hand, and again I'll just run my hand right along there, because at every one of these nodes there could be a branch starting. So again, that's grafted plants. You've got the rootstock, and then this is where the graft is made so that you can grow this desired variety, because this is actually pretty difficult to root, if not impossible. So the accepted method to reproduce an identical plant to this one is to take a cutting known as a scion from a mature plant and graft it onto a rootstock, because the rootstock is very easy to grow from seed, but this variety is not. So it's kind of a crash course in grafted plants and how to prune and maintain your grafted plants. Weeping cherries are the same way. They're grafted up high. This part weeps. This part all the way up here is rootstock, and they'll be grafted up 5 or 6 feet tall. And you got to watch for that, because you'll see a lot of weeping cherries that have growth coming right up by the graft union, and it doesn't fit the tree. It's completely different from the weeping variety, and a lot of people don't realize what's happening, and they let that grow. I mean, I go to a restaurant here locally. They've got 2 of them right by the front door, and both of them have these huge suckers growing out of the top that should have been pruned away a long time ago. And it amazes me because their landscaper should have seen that, should have been on top of it. So look around in your own landscape. You may find something that is happening that you weren't even aware of. I'm Mike McGroarty from freeplants.com.